Shalom, shalom. I want to start by giving all praises, glory, and honor to the Lord Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakadash. My name is Brother Napak from the Camp Prophets in Babylon, down here in Tampa Bay, Florida. And I want to give double honors to elders and apostles, a great millstone who teach and rule well, peace and blessings to the hopeful elect and the ones listening in. And I want to get into a short, quick lesson on this whole port strike. All right. Now, to get a video, I'm gonna play this video, get a few scriptures out, and close it out with that. But start this video real quick.
Those days are over.
The longshoremen's strike that many feared has now begun, and the ramifications could be significant. Just after midnight on October 1st, tens of thousands of dock workers from the International Longshoremen's Association, ILA, walked off the job, effectively paralyzing key ports along the U.S. East Coast and Gulf Coast. These ports, stretching from Maine to Texas, handle over half of the nation's containerized trade, and their sudden closure has sent shockwaves through the supply chain. Negotiations between the International Longshore and Warehouse Union and the U.S. Maritime Alliance, which represents the employers, stalled after months of deadlock. The core issues are wages and automation. Workers are demanding a 77% wage increase over 6 years, fearing that automated systems will replace jobs if...
So, as you see, man, this, the brother Amawam Gabar, posted this clip. But, the port strike has begun. It just started today, minutes after, midnight. Today's August 1st, or October 1st, Salakia. And you have, the dock workers that are protesting instead of working, all right? They stop doing their jobs to protest because they want, a higher rate, higher wages, because they feel like they aren't getting paid enough. But that is resulting in, a lot of stuff not being able to get shipped here to America. Food, supplies, a lot of stuff you get, from China, all these different, countries, it's resulting in where a lot of that stuff cannot be delivered here to America. All right. So to get straight into the scriptures, this is 2 Ezra chapter 16. And I'll start verse 17. It says, woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? All right. And this is Ezra speaking. He's saying, woe is me, destruction unto me, who will deliver me in those days. All right. And the reason he's saying that, because he had the vision of the days to come. All right. And it was so dreadful. Ezra was asking, who's going to be able to deliver me in those days? Destruction unto me, because it was so horrific. All right. Seeing everything that was coming to pass in that vision. It says in verse 18, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils, what shall I do when these evils shall come? So right now, we're in the beginning of those sorrows and great mournings. All right, the beginning of famine and great death, because right now, you got it where, like I said, you're not, the dock workers stop working in order to protest, all right, leading into, food not, being able to, get delivered here to America, all right, fruit, all these different type of, food that got, and supplies and resources that, gets delivered here from those ships, are not being able to get here because those dock workers are protesting, and this itself could start a civil unrest. You know, honestly, I feel like right now anything could start a civil unrest. To be real, because now you have it where the whole thing with Israel. Today you just had it. It's crazy, man. October 1st, man. A lot of stuff is happening, bro, at once. You just had Iran just hit Israel with missiles. All right, and a lot of people are getting upset because they know that America is going to lend their hand, to Israel to try to help Israel out. But there's people here that's saying, it's you got stuff that you got to deal with here in America, and you trying to help out these other places. You got stuff you got to deal with here in America, and a lot of the people are complaining. All right, the Americans are complaining. All right, and it's continuous to complaining. Continuing to complain more and more until these Americans get tired of it and they just start rioting, causing up wars, going against each other. Because right now America is divided, man. America is very divided within itself, and now they're trying to go and lend Israel help, and get themselves caught up in that war, which will happen, WW3. All right, but they're weakened from inside. All right, so right now America is an easy opponent. All right, Scripture says, "A house that is divided shall not stand." All right, so America being divided is not going to be able to stand for long, because you already got the Americans within America, and a whole bunch of other problems within America that's being stirred up right now. For example, the port strike, the elections. All right, so there's a lot of other stuff that's going on in America right now. That will lead to them being an easy opponent if they get into this war, which they will. It's not really a if. They will get into a war. All right. But and all America's enemies right now are looking at America as a joke. All right. Looking at America as a joke, not really taking them very much serious. That's why a lot of you have Putin, endorsing Kamala Harris, and it was more of a mocking. It was more of a you can tell that he was when he was endorsing her, it was like a what's the word for it? Slakia, but it was more so like if he knows that if this woman becomes president, our enemies become weaker, because Russia is an enemy, of America, and America is an enemy of Russia. So enemies are gonna find different ways to weaken their opponent. All right, and they know if Kamala Harris get into that seat, their opponent will be weakened. All right, because she doesn't know shit of what she's doing. All right. It says the beginning of wars and the power shall stand in fear, and the beginning of evil. So there's going to be a beginning of evils, beginning of wars. All right. The war just begun between Israel and Iran. All right. And Israel's on, is basically they need help, man. All right. Israel definitely needs help. All right. But and America's going to be the one to give it to them. Give them that help, and that's when Russia will have to stand in as well. All right, so now the time for arguing and all the arguing that these nations are doing, it's no longer arguing. It's no longer a proxy war anymore. All right, now America and Russia are starting to step into the fight. It says, verse 19, "Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. But for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. All right, so behold, that famine, that plague, tribulation, and anguish that's to come upon this place are scourges for amendment. All right, so the Lord is judging this place. Lord, this is all from the Lord. This is, Lord prophesied all this. All right, of the plagues, the famine, the tribulation, and anguish. These are scourges for amendment. All right, because mainly for Jake, because Jake been going off, bro. Jake been, and that's why Jacob's trouble got to come into place, because Jake has been, as wicked as ever. That's why it says, but all these things, they shall not turn from their wickedness. All right, so even with all those things, they ain't going to turn from their wickedness, nor be mindful of the scourges, or be mindful of those scourges, that the Lord is sending upon them. Because Jake is stiff-necked, they're wicked as hell. Lord send all these different plagues and stuff. All right, and they don't want to get right, until there's they have nothing here left. No food. All right, everybody's gonna go crazy. Everybody's going crazy. Then that's when they're gonna try to seek the Lord. Then that's when they're gonna try to ask of the Lord and try to find the Lord. But it's gonna be a little bit too late. It says, behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth. So the victuals of food, the goods, all those, that's going to be so good cheap. All right. It was so good cheap, but now it's going to come to a time where all those prices are going to raise up, inflation. All right. Especially now after, the port strike. They're saying in the next week, prices are going to be up. All right. So a lot of people are panic buying as of right now already. Panic buying, getting a lot of food, water, all these different things, because they know that port strike hit. They're not going to be able to, afford much of the food that's going to be on the shelves. All right. So they're panic buying, and through that panic buying, there's not going to be much food left on the shelves. So that's why a lot of those prices are going to be raised up. All right. And then it's going to get to the point where people are going to start getting angry. All right. They don't got no food, prices raised up, their job's not paying much. Everyone's going to be in a time of, anger, and that's why I say, this may very well cause, a civil unrest. All right, because a lot of people are going to be wanting to, they're going to want to, what's the word for it? A lot of people are going to want food. They're going to want the resources. A lot of things that's getting shipped out from, China, all these different things are not going to be getting shipped out over here anymore. So a lot of people are going to be, in total, in an uproar. So a lot of people are going to be in an uproar and rioting. All right, it says that they shall think themselves to be in a good case. So, they thought themselves to be in a good case. All right. Victuals are so good, cheap. He was able to buy food. All right. Back 5 years ago, food wasn't that much. All right. It didn't cost that much. It didn't cost an arm and a leg for groceries. But over the past 5 years, the food prices been rising up. Gas prices been rising up. So how much more when this port strike hit a week, or a week later after this, port strike just hit, food rise up more. All right. Gas prices rise up more, all these different things. And it's like, bro, you really can't live anymore. And people are going to be mad. People are going to be angry. That's going to cause a sedition among men. It says, and even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. So even then, those evils are going to continue to grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. Because like I said, it ain't gonna be no food like that, and then the food that you do want is gonna be, very expensive. The prices are gonna rise up, so people are just gonna start looting. All right, and if you can't buy it, they're gonna start just taking it. All right, taking the medicine, food, all these different things. That's why a lot of people have those bunkers, and they try to. A lot of these preppers try to prep up in their bunkers because stuff like this, they try to prepare for. All right. It says, so many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. So, so many people are that dwell upon this earth is going to perish of famine. Not being able to eat no food. All right, they're going to perish of that famine. And the other that escape that hunger, they're going to perish by the sword, bro. So, in that day, you ain't gonna be able to escape your judgment, bro. If the Lord got it out for you, you're not gonna be able to escape that judgment. You escape the famine or the hunger. All right, the sword is gonna take you. All right, and it says, and the dead shall be cast out as dung. So the dead is gonna be cast out as dung. It's gonna get so bad that no one's gonna be able, or even want, to get the dead bodies out of the streets and bury them. All right, they're gonna be cast out like dung, like shit, man. And it's gonna be in all in the streets, dead people, all in the grass, everywhere, bro. It says, and there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted, and the city shall be cast down. So no one's gonna be able to comfort them. All right, the earth is gonna be wasted, and the city's shall be cast down, bro. All right, ain't gonna be nobody to bury the dead bodies that's on the floor, give them a proper funeral, a proper burial. All right, because at the end of the day, death is going to be something that, so common, no one's going to even really care that much anymore. All right, they're just everybody's going to be out, looking out for themselves and their family. All right, it says, for the earth shall be wasted and the city shall be cast down. So the earth will be wasted and the city's going to be cast down, man. And, soon, Babylon will be, will become a place of, tribulation, a place of all hell breaking loose. You see how much just happened in just today alone. So imagine next week, or imagine in this week, how much of chaos and, things are going to happen to, where people want to cause an uproar. All right. Imagine, man. Just imagine. You never know. All right. And this happened in one day. How much more in the next week or the coming next weeks? All right. So, hey, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying to the hopeful elect and ones listening in. I'm bringing back that video, play it back for you brothers, and you sisters that's watching, and I'll close it out with this.
Well, let me tell you, those days are over.
The longshoremen strike that many feared has now begun, and the ramifications could be significant. Just after midnight on October 1st, tens of thousands of dock workers from the International Longshoremen's Association, ILA, walked off the job, effectively paralyzing key ports along the U.S. East Coast and Gulf Coast. These ports, stretching from Maine to Texas, handle over half of the nation's containerized trade, and their sudden closure has sent shockwaves through the supply chain. Negotiations between the International Longshore and Warehouse Union and the U.S. Maritime Alliance, which represents the employers, stalled after months of deadlock. The core issues are wages and automation. Workers are demanding a 77% wage increase over 6 years, fearing that automated systems will replace jobs if...
So, hey, man, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying to the hopeful elect. Once again, I want to get the bottom sides and Apostle Great Millstone. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to the Lord Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakadash. Shalom, Akim.